Good evening, everybody. My name is Tyler Barker. I serve as the coordinator within the Office of Parent and Family Programs here at Georgia Tech. I'd like to welcome you to our Family Appreciation Week, which we are doing in substitute of Family Weekend, which has been postponed until the spring semester. Today's webinar is a chat with Georgia Tech student leaders who work in our office, Parent and Family Programs office, as well as their parents, for a conversation about student success and what that looks like from their perspective. Each of our students are doing some amazing things on campus, very smart and bright students. And we thought that it would be a great opportunity to kind of hear from them, pick their brains, and also pick their parents' brains as well, who have been supporting them throughout their time at Georgia Tech. Pretty much how today will go is we will have a couple questions, preset questions for our panelists, and then we'll open it up for Q&A from you all, the attendees, to just kind of ask a question to the student. How's life at Tech? How do you handle this? Any advice on this? My student is experiencing this. What would you recommend parent to parent? So feel free to drop those questions as we gear up throughout the webinar tonight. And just once again, thank you for joining us. And so we'll get started with some introductions. So Adria's, if you wouldn't mind, and then followed by your mom, if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself.
Okay, hey everybody, my name is Adria Jones. I'm a third year business major. I'm from a small town called Manchester, Georgia, and I'm involved with the organization because I'm a parent assistant leader, which we call a PAL, and we basically just help out with like event coordination and everything, and helping to have more parent involvement on campus.
Andres, if you wouldn't mind, what are some organizations that you're involved in on campus?
I'm involved in the SGA. Well, not SGA, but SA.
Okay, got it.
Student Alumni Association.
Yeah, SAA. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. My name is Audra Jones. I am Adria's mother, and I am from Manchester, Georgia, and just here to help other parents with any questions they have.
Thank y'all so much for introducing yourself. Rachel, would you mind introducing yourself?
I'm Rachel Hudson. I'm a second year International Affairs and Modern Language major. I'm from Duluth and currently at home this semester. I'm a student assistant with the Parent and Family Programs office. On campus, I part of like a K-pop dance team and also an organization called Liberty in North Korea.
I'm Jennifer Hudson. I'm Rachel's mother, and we live in Duluth, Georgia, just in the north suburbs of Atlanta. What was it? Is there another question?
No, that's pretty much it. Thank y'all so much
Thank
for
you.
introducing yourself. And lastly, we have Mike and Christy Owens, who is a parent of Ryan Owens, who will be joining us shortly. So Mike and Christy, if you wouldn't mind introducing yourselves and Ryan.
We are Mike and Christy Owens, and Ryan is our son. He's a fourth year business major at Georgia Tech, and we are from Thomasville, Georgia.
A little things that Ryan's involved in, just to kind of give his little introduction since he's not here. He's also he's a PAL, he's a parent assistant leader. He actually also works part-time in the Parent and Family Programs office. He's involved in intramural sports there on campus. He is a member of the Management Information Systems Club. He's also a GT 1000 ambassador and a team leader as well. I don't know if we mentioned he's a business major with a concentration in management information systems and a minor in business analytics.
Thank you all so much, Mike and Christy. And as I stated, Ryan is in class right now being a excellent scholar, so he will be joining us shortly. So we'll get started with our first question for the students. And I'll go to you, Adria's first. How have you managed COVID this semester, and what advice do you have for students struggling to find a sense of normalcy?
I've tried to minimize the amount of people that I like hang around and try to get testing more often. We have free testing. It's available for everybody. It literally can take like 5 minutes to go get tested. I feel like this is a good way to like help keep track of what's going on, to make sure you're not harming anyone that you're like in contact with. And for like a sense of normalcy, I basically just go out on campus and walk around, even if it's like not a lot of people. We still have like food trucks and things. Like we had a Chick-fil-A food truck opening today. So like I went out and walked around to see that. Just to like try to make the environment still feel kind of normal. But it's been a challenge, but it's been good.
Rachel, would you like to give some thoughts as well?
Yeah, for like normalcy, this semester has really been about like making sure and like holding to anything that you can find that like will provide that, instead of letting like home life and school kind of like blend together, especially being at home. It can easy to like let them kind of bleed into each other, but just kind of structuring the day in a way that more reflects a normal school life, not like past dinner, maybe not letting myself do as much work. Also, like having something to look forward to each week. For a while, we were watching a show on Fridays that came out every Friday, and so like I knew I had that to look forward to every week. Maybe instead of like hanging out with friends on Friday. Yeah. Or I also been, like Audra said, I've been taking a lot of walks to get outside too. Been nice.
Yeah, important just to kind of clear your head and get some fresh air. So the next question we have is for the parents, and we will start with Mike and Christy first. As a parent, how have you supported your student this semester, considering the circumstances, and also just considering that this has been a different semester? So how are you supporting Ryan from home, and any advice that you would give to parents?
I think for the most part, I mean, we try to keep that routine where we talk to him once a week. We try to FaceTime. We try to do all that stuff that we've always done. But I think some of the questions have changed. Some of the topics have changed. What are you doing to be safe? Or are you what's Georgia Tech doing to help you do that? And so, and I agree with the two girls there. I mean, sometimes I've told them you have to just get outside and do something. You can't sit in that dorm room or by that laptop all day long, even if most of your classes are online. Get out, even if it's just walking around and doing something like that. So, and that's been a lot of our conversations with him.
Christy, do you have anything to add before we go to Audra?
I was just going to say, we try to be present in anytime we have a conversation with him, because we never know what he's going to be feeling that day. Is he stressed that day just because of different challenges he's faced? Is he concerned maybe he was exposed to someone that had COVID? So just being present in the conversations, making sure that we're paying attention, even though that we're not in each other's presence, still letting him know that, hey, we're here. And if you have concerns, that's what we're here for, and express them to us. And like Mike said, definitely the conversations have changed. It's not as much about how are your grades, what's going on. It's more about how are you doing, how are your roommates doing, that sort of thing. So that's definitely just a different change in topics, like Mike mentioned in our conversations.
Great, thank you so much for sharing that. Audra, we would love to hear from you, and any advice that you have and how things have changed.
Well, I know that with Adria, we talk 5, 6, 7 times a day. And I try to always talk 5, 6, 7, maybe 10 times a day, sometimes now. But what she said to me, she made a statement. She said, "Mom, this is a life experience, what's going on. And we're growing up. You're sending me into the world to become the woman that you have raised me to be. So I have to learn how to deal with these challenges." So what I had to do was trust her judgment, know that I had given her the right directions, and to just like supply her with whatever tools she needed. If she needed to talk, if she wants to call me 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and say, "Mom, I'm stressed out, I need to talk to you," I'm here. Those are the type of things that I've tried to do for her.
Great, great. That's such good advice. Just being there as a backbone and as a supporter. Jennifer, would you mind sharing your thoughts as well?
Yeah, so we have a little bit different situation where Rachel she lived on campus last year as a freshman and had the dorm experience and all of that. And so now this year she has decided to stay home due to most of her classes being online, and we don't live far from the school. So it's really the part about being supportive. I mean, it's really just remembering that she's a college student, because now she's back home, and like she said, you can get back into the normal situation you had, or normal what's the word, relationship that you had before, as her as a high school student and you as the parent. So just remembering she is a college student, she does need to have like the college experience, and so just encouraging her to drive down to Tech to see her friends, or to spend time with her friends online. Her clubs sometimes will meet together online, and so just having that connection still with the college. So it's not so just being at home, but she's still having a connection to the college. So that's what we really encourage her to do. And also this time has been about kind of what one of the parents said about growing up, just learning to drive. She's now can drive and cook some meals on her own and things she might not have done in college. So trying to take this time to support that just growing up.
Great, great. That's awesome. Really, really good to hear. So now we'll go to the next question that we have for the students, and then so we'll start with Rachel, you first. What advice do you have for being successful from an academic standpoint at Georgia Tech since the time that you started as a first year up until now? What advice do you have?
For me, the most important thing, not just at Tech but anywhere, has been knowing where to get help and like trying out different things, because not everything works for everyone. So my first semester I had a difficult time in math, and so I started with one resource and it didn't really work. Like it wasn't the best thing for me, so I, instead of like giving up, I just like went to the next one and continued pursuing it until I found something that I knew worked for me. And the nice thing is that if one resource is available in one class, it's probably available in other classes too for support. And so once you know where you can get help and what works, you can apply it to your other classes too when you have like academic difficulties.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing that, Rachel. Adria, would you like to chime in as well?
For me, my first year, it was really hard because, like Rachel said, it's difficult to find resources that are like that specifically help you, because everything doesn't work for everybody. But I found that like being virtual and having like virtual classes, most teachers like record their lectures. So if you miss something, it's not a problem where you like have to go directly to the teacher to ask oh, I missed this. Can you reteach me this? But you can just like go back, listen, pay more attention. And if you have questions, you can like email them. And I feel like for me, it's been easier, but everybody's not the same. So that's just basically what I've been doing.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point by the both of you, just finding those resources that fit, because every student is unique, everybody's situations are unique. And so I think it's just important to just get out and explore and not be afraid to try more than one thing. I think that's really key. So now what we'll do is go back to the parents, because we always love the parents. Um, we'll start with Jennifer. Um, how have you encouraged and supported your student when there are academic struggles and bumps on the road throughout, Rachel's career, and even too, I'll add a two-part to that as well. How have you supported her just socially from just a general life standpoint when things she maybe just be struggling with random things? How are you encouraging her through academics and just her social life?
Yeah, so she kind of alluded to last year how she had some trouble with some of the math classes. And one of the things is just reminding her, like, that she made it to Georgia Tech. That, I mean, as a freshman, that's a big deal, and you're capable. The fact that you got in and you're here, you're capable of doing the work, and it's just having the right, like she said, the right resources that would help with whatever her particular need was. And so just encouraging her to like not give up or not worry about it so much. Like, you're fine. You just need to find the right resources. So looking for academic help, and she was telling me about I met with this person, it wasn't really helpful, and just continue to keep doing it, keep going out and meeting with people, or looking for people in her class that she can get support from. As far as socially, we really last year was so excited that she went out and tried different clubs, tried to get involved with different things to find, again, where she fit. And we just love that she blossomed through that. And so it's really hard actually this year to see her at home, to miss out on all of that. So again, just trying to encourage her to continue with those connections and not let them fade out, and just keeping her to be able to talk to other people about what's going on, and any academic struggles or bumps that she has, I don't know about, because she's just so amazing. No, I'm kidding. But she works through all of her issues, and I encourage her to like seek out other help. Of course, we offer help too if she needs it.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing that. Audra, I'll now shift the question to you. Explain how you were just there for Adria's when she may have received the first grade that she wasn't expecting, or just something outside the classroom maybe was bothering her. How did you just help get her through it?
Well, the thing that I realized is that Adria's graduated from a high school that didn't have the best resources, should I say. So I knew her going from here to Georgia Tech was going to be a challenge. But I wanted to make sure that she had every resource that I thought that I could give her. I told her to make sure she taught with the academic resource. I want her to go to her guidance counselor. And then I'm a social butterfly. So I try to just meet people in the mix of everything. I need to get the right, I need to know the right people who I need to go to when this happened, when that happened. So when those things, when she came to me with a problem and I realized it was a real problem for Adria's, I said, okay, I can't be there to hold your hand, but what I am going to do is I'm going to call you every day until you make this appointment, because Adria's is the type of person, she's not a social butterfly. She'll just try to work it out herself and just get into a depression. I think she goes into a depression. She says she doesn't. But I insist on her, you never give up. So I can remember saying to her, I think at the end of her freshman year, I said, okay, this is where we are. You seem to be struggling. What do you think we need to do? I said, do we need to try to go to another school somewhere else, or do you want to continue at Georgia Tech? And she looked at me and she's like, you always said wherever we start, that's where we're going to finish. And she said, I'm not leaving Georgia Tech. And I can truly say to you that her sophomore year was an entirely different experience. And this is her third year. She seems to just be blossoming now. It's great for her now. So I'm thinking that she's utilizing all the resources.
Yes, Adria definitely has been blossoming. So now what I'll do is I'll shift it over to Mike and Christy if you would like to just give your perspective, and then we'll see that Ryan has joined us now, so we'll give you a chance to speak right after your parents. Mike and Christy, would you like to share a few things?
I think we can just share what the other two moms mentioned. You know, there are resources. Encourage your child to contact those professors and go visit them during their office hours. There's tutoring available on campus. You know, there's all those resources, and sometimes, you know, it's hard to ask for the help because they've never had to ask for it before. You know, all of our kids, I'm sure, are bright kids, did well in high school, and then, you know, they may be running into some challenges when they're at college because tech is hard. And sometimes it's hard for them when they, you know, see a grade that's less than an A and they think, oh my gosh, the world's going to end. You know, so it's just providing that support and hoping that your child is utilizing those resources and not letting things get out of hand, because as parents, we all know once they turn 18, head off to college, you can't contact those professors and you can't get that information like you used to be able to when they were in high school. It's just a different game plan. So you just have to be supportive with your child and encourage them to check into those resources and talk to their professors. And, you know, Ryan ended up changing his major shortly after he started. I think after his second semester, or maybe after his first semester, he realized this is not what I want to do, and I don't think I'm going to be happy doing this. And it's okay if you change direction, because, you know, you get to college and kind of figure out the direction you want to go in anyway. So, like I said, the other parents mentioned that, you know, you just got to encourage them to find those resources and to ask the questions and not be scared to make mistakes.
Yeah, I think that's really good advice, and I think it's also good too, knowing that you and Mike really supported Ryan through that major change, because that's something that we see a lot. That oftentimes is hard for parents to understand. Why are you changing your major? You know, we have all these plans for you with this major, but, you know, it's really just based upon the fit and what the student wants to do and wants to excel in. So I think you all have displayed a great job of what it takes to really support your student, even though they want to change. Ryan, I'll ask a question to you. Based upon your experience at Georgia Tech, what advice do you have for students just to be successful from an academic standpoint?
So I think kind of like, you know, everyone's mentioned, obviously there's tons of resources on campus to help you be successful. But one of the biggest things for me is just, you know, knowing to put in the work. You know, in high school, it's very easy to, or at least for everyone here, it's very easy to breeze by. You know, you study the night before the test. And I think tech is a lot about building a solid foundation, which, you know, is something you need for, you know, for being an engineer, being a computer scientist. You know, you just have to have that foundation of the, you know, of the beginning concepts and then building up from there. And so, you know, that means, you know, you have to study, you know, but, you know, you can't study the night before your test. You have to start, you know, from the beginning and then build up from there. And that's one of the biggest things that I've noticed myself doing, you know, over the years is that, you know, like even now, you know, I have a test tomorrow, but I had to start studying on, you know, Saturday or Sunday, right? And it's just, and that kind of continues throughout the whole semester. And then by the time you're building on the entirety of that class in the next semester, because you're able to do that, you're still going to continue being successful, right? And so just kind of understanding that you have to put the time in, and understanding that you can't just, you know, memorize everything the night before and you'll be fine, because it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, for sure. For the next question, I'll go right back to you, Ryan. From your perspective, what are the advantages of getting involved on campus? We know right now we may have a lot of students who may not really see the importance of it, maybe just a little shy or just a little nervous about meeting people, trying new things. So if you can just talk about, you know, like, what is it like to get involved at Tech and what are the benefits?
I think for me, I wasn't very involved my freshman year, but no one really is their first semester. It's tough to jump right into clubs, be very active. And I got very much more involved my sophomore year and obviously now through my senior year. And it's really helped, it's a little cliche, but with time management, right? Like I really have to block things off now. I know I go to work in the morning, I know I go to class in the afternoon, and then I know I have to study at night. And when you do have more free time, it's a little counterintuitive, but it's much easier to just say, oh, I'm going to push this off until later, and then you never do it. You're going to push studying off till the next day, and then you push it off until the next day, and then it just never ends up happening. And so for me, getting involved was more of just, okay, I have to block off my time for this, and I have to do it now. And there's no pushing it off or doing it later or anything like that. And getting involved really helped me, with that aspect of studying and keeping my life a little bit more organized. And then obviously, as far as, meeting new people, you make new friends, you can meet older people in your major. They can help you with what classes to take. And, even if you're thinking about, going to grad school, doing research and, doing those extracurricular activities and getting letters of recommendation, it just helps you with almost every aspect. So you never know where those connections can really lead to.
For sure, 100%. Adria, I'll go to you next. You just talk about some of the advantages of getting involved and how it helps, make new friends, stuff like that.
For me, like Ryan said, I was not very involved my freshman year. Like I didn't do anything. I sat in my room, didn't even try to make friends or anything. I was like, I need to focus on schoolwork. But I came to realize that it's beneficial to go out and socialize, because if you meet people in your major that are they can help you. They've already taken most of the classes, so it's easier for you to just ask for help, reach out. It's another avenue of getting support here at Tech. It's also a good way to network and meet people from different majors that you never thought about, oh, this person does this, maybe you can help me when I'm taking this class or something like that. But it's it's a lot of different things at Tech, and it's not such a just engineering people and just computer science people, and it's a broad avenue of people that you haven't even explored. So it's interesting to meet different people and how they got into Tech, and I think it's really interesting.
For sure, I think so too. Rachel, we'll go to you next.
I don't have much to add, but it's not the case with all clubs, because some clubs are academic based, but getting involved on campus is you get to see a different side of people that you don't see a majority of the time in class or around campus. Is usually when you're academically involved. And so if you get involved in something not academic based, you get to see a different side of people and also show a different side of you, which is nice to kind of have the variation in your day that's academic, and then a different portion of your day that you get to do something and share a part of you that's not necessarily academic or professional based.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing that. The next question that we have is for the parents. And Audra, I'll start with you first. Talk about the growth that you've seen in Adria since the day she graduated high school up until now. I know you kind of touched on it earlier, but just from from a parent standpoint, just talk about how much you've seen her grow, just from everything that she's gotten involved in on campus to academically, her internship experience. Just talk about, because we sometimes we have a lot of parents who are nervous. They in that first year, oh my gosh, what will my student turn into? But just talk about what you've seen with Adria's. You're on mute, Audra.
Okay, with me, I must admit that I'm a helicopter mom. And I've been this way since my first son. But with Adria's, when we went to Tech, I was like, gosh, she has to find someone that she can connect with, because she was just staying in her room. So we had the family weekend, and I met Lacey. And I think I had talked to Lacey earlier in the day, And I was like, because like I said, I'm a social butterfly, so I introduced myself. I think I met the dean of students, started talking to him, just talking to everybody, because I knew that this was going to be an avenue for Adria's. If she wasn't going to talk, her mom was going to talk a little for her. So she told me that if Adria stayed at Tech the next year, she returned to Tech, then she would, try to take her under her wing. So that's what happened. From that point, I started seeing Adria's come home. She was not cooking before she left. She comes home, she cooks a complete dinner. She is so organized. She's like so focused now, like, okay, we can do this. Her dad would tell her, well, come on, I'm gonna measure this piece of wood, and he'll just measure it. She's like, no, you have to measure it just right, Dad. Those type things she was not doing before she left for high school. When she was in high school, she was cheerleading, baseball, just doing all type of activities. At Tech, no, I'm focused. I'm here to get my education. So she's growing. The other thing, she's meeting people from a diverse group. So that means she's being exposed to different types of things that she was not getting here in Manchester, because like I say, we're a very small town. So, and to me, I've seen her now that she's working with the PAL program. She talks to people on the phone. She would not talk on the phone. She would not even ask a question of anyone. Now she does. So I think I've seen a lot of growth. She's internship with NASA now for 5 summers, and seeing her go to Beltsville by herself and just stay and say, well, Mom, I can handle this. I'm like, oh, wow. She's really doing this. This year she was doing it virtually. And I'm like, that's a really growing experience for her, because that may be the wave of the future. We never know. So that's the growth I've seen in her.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing that. It sounds like you're just really proud, really proud. Mike and Christy, if you could just talk about from the time Ryan graduated to where he is now, just talk about that growth that you've seen in him, just as a person.
I think it echoes what everyone else has said. I think you said it too, Tyler. I mean, it's not just his on-campus groups that he's with, although that helps. But, Ryan has been through 2 interns now. He's spent 6 months in Australia doing study abroad, and it's just, there's a world of difference. I mean, he makes adult decisions now, and I can see that. I mean, when he interned, he had to get up at 7 a.m., 6:30, 7 a.m. every morning, be at work at 8, didn't get off at 5. Those are, just adult things that you have to do and make decisions for. And, he's not that he didn't do good things in high school, but he did typical high school stuff. He'd sleep in when he could. He'd chill out when he could, and that's fine. But when you get to college, you got to do adult things and start learning how to do that. And he's done that. And I can see the difference.
Christy, would you like to add anything?
I was going to say he bought a crock pot, decided he liked to cook a little bit. That's not something he would normally do. But, we thought that was cute when he decided he wanted to get a crock pot.
And I think somebody else said he's got a diverse set of roommates, and they've decided to cook. What night is? I mean, every Saturday evening they get together and cook now. So that's something. You're right. That's something he would have either gone out or got us to make him something in the past, and he's going to the store with a group of his friends and getting things to eat and making them at home. So that's he wouldn't have done that a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow, that's really awesome, Ryan. We got to talk about some recipes in the office next week. Jennifer, what about you?
I've talked a little bit already about how Rachel had blossomed last year, just getting involved. One thing we were really excited about is her growth spiritually. Like, she got involved with a group on campus, and she really embraced her faith in a way that we hadn't seen at home. And so we were really happy to see like her growth there and just taking on that herself. Also, I'd noticed last year, like when she would have troubles with not her roommates all got along really well, but she had like really loud neighbors, and and no one was seeming to care, like when she would ask, the RA or talk to them. And so just handling difficulties when things just don't go your way, and just seeing her, because she likes to kind of take a supporting role instead of a leadership role, and seeing her get involved with Solstice on campus, and just being a part of something she loves to do, but just really putting herself out there, that's like performance in front of everyone, and just seeing her kind of take on that role. It was really exciting to see her grow in that. And now at home, kind of what you're saying about the crock pot, like she did laundry at Tech. Now she's home, she's doing her own laundry. So really excited about that. Lots of growth. We're looking forward to this COVID being over and her getting back on campus. But I was really excited to see what just in 1 year on campus, and then at home, it just seems that Tech is the right place for her to grow.
Thank you so much. That's awesome. That's really awesome. The next question that we have is for the students, and then we'll kind of turn it over to the Q&A, the chat box. I see that we have a couple questions over here. Let's start with you, Adria. So a lot of students at Georgia Tech may still be in limbo about getting an internship, getting a co-op. Based upon your experience, should they pursue that, and what are some of the benefits in getting that opportunity?
Well, I had, like my mom said, I've done 5 internships at NASA. I've loved them. For me, the internship experience, it was basically just meeting new people and going into like a different background. This is like kind of where I figured out what I wanted to do. I knew I did not want to be an engineer, because during my internship, it was a horrible thing. Like, it showed me that I was not made to be like an aeronautical engineer. I was like, there's no way I can study this. So for me, it was very beneficial, and it's like, it helps you to see like what it's like in an actual work environment. So it like helps you get prepared and see like what all do I need to do while I'm in school. And it also gives you like networking opportunities. So like when you're getting ready to graduate, looking for a job, you can always go back to those connects that you made like during internships experiences to see if they know anything. Because you've already made connections, I feel those connections are very important, especially if you keep in touch with those people, because it can like really pave an avenue for you during your career. So.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I think you brought up a good point. You either find out what you want to do or find out what you don't want to do. I think that's a good point. Ryan, I'll go to you next. Considering that you're a senior, I would love to hear from you about your internship or co-op experience.
Yeah, I think, I've done it 3 times, every summer, after my freshman year, after my sophomore year, and then last summer. And the biggest benefit for me, obviously, right now I'm looking at probably the toughest job market since 2008, right? And, if I were a hiring manager, I don't know that I would want to hire a 22-year-old with no experience versus a 22-year-old that's, worked 40 hours a week for 10 weeks 3 times. And I think that's the biggest benefit really, is just, letting myself get into that, environment of, this is what work is like, this is how I can, contribute value to a company, and actually, kind of understand what like the day-to-day looks like. And then, like Audria said, I've done it in like 3 fairly different areas, kind of understanding, what I do want to do, what I don't want to do, because it's a lot harder to tell in the classroom versus, in the actual working environment. And then same thing with the type of company, right? Like if you want to, whether that's in like the public sector or, at a startup or at a large private company, there's so many different options out there. And obviously you don't really know where you want to go until after you've had that experience. And it's a lot easier to do that at 19 or 20 than to find out at, 25 or 27, so.
Rachel, we'd love to hear from you as well about any thoughts that you have towards it.
I have not co-op or interned, but I'm looking forward to studying abroad when the nearest time that I can. So yeah, I'm looking forward to study abroad. It's a requirement for my degree, but also an experience I'm excited to have.
Yeah, studying abroad is awesome. Something that we highly encourage students to just look into, just for the opportunity. So now what we'll do is go to our Q&A. So the first question that we have is for the students. Um, is it normal for first years to not really know their grades at this point? What advice do you have for academic help if they don't necessarily know where they stand in the class? Um, Rachel, I'll go to you, and then I'll give Brian or Adria a chance to comment.
I think most students should know their grades at some level. There's a midterm progress report, I think available on the Buzzport or like Oscar. And it depends on the professor. Some professors input a grade as soon as they grade it, and some wait a longer time. But because we have passed like the midpoint of the semester, they should at least have their midpoint like grade for, I think it's like satisfactory, unsatisfactory performance or something like that. And that is available on the student's Oscar account.
Ryan, do you have any comments?
Yeah, like Rachel said, I know it was a few weeks ago that those satisfactory or unsatisfactory grades came out, and professors are required to report those, and then a student at least has an idea of if they're passing or failing. And also, I know that the deadline to drop a class is, I think, this Saturday. So most professors are fairly understanding, if they email and they say, hey, I'm not very sure where I stand in this class right now, and the drop deadline is Saturday. Can we schedule a time to meet and kind of go over, how I've done in the class so far? Most are fairly understanding. And if not, if they don't get a response, then that's something that, the student, even though it's intimidating to do as a freshman, you can take that up the chain, right? And, kind of go to someone above the professor and say, because they're required to give you at least an idea of how you're doing, and say, they're, months late on grades, and, no one has any clue. And then that'll be handled, obviously by someone above them that has a bit more authority. So, but most are very willing to meet with you, and we'll respond to like a simple email and, walk through your grades with you.
Adria, do you have any comments towards that, or are you?
Yeah, mostly like if you're looking for academic help, I'd suggest like if you don't have great grades in the class, I'd suggest like going to office hours with the professor. This can like help. Like I know online is kind of hard, but most do have like drop-in hours where they like host a virtual session and they like have students drop in. Even if like it's only for a few minutes, like if that's avenue for help, like I think it could be very beneficial to students, especially if it's like one-on-one time, because most students don't utilize that tool that we have now. But you should definitely check the satisfactory, unsatisfactory report for grades.
Yeah, and I think all of those are really good comments. And personally, what I always tell students is just to sometime throughout the semester, it's important to get connected with your professor individually. I would always schedule a meeting with my professor, even if my grades weren't necessarily bad, and they were in a good point, just to kind of pick their brain, learn more about them, and just show a genuine interest in the content, what we're learning, and also just to kind of get to know them. You'll be surprised what connections the professors have in the field, in the industry. Because some professors work for corporate Fortune 500 companies. Some professors worked in the private sector, public sector, for the government. So you'll really be surprised if you actually take the time to meet your professor, set up a one-on-one, and just establish a relationship. I think it can really take you far. This is for the parents. How do you keep your student motivated to keep going? Any tips? Care packages, food delivery, weekly, pick me up text or anything like that. Audra, I'll start with you.
For me, Adria's, we live maybe like an hour and a half from the school, so she'll get a chance to come home on the weekend sometimes, and we'll take her grocery shopping. So that's a chance for her to get whatever she needs, whatever protein she needs to keep her going, to make sure she gets those good grades. And I just always just encourage her to just stay focused and don't give up. Just keep going and keep going and keep going.
Thank you, Audra. Jennifer, any tips, anything you do to just help keep Rachel motivated?
I don't know if she says I'm a good motivator or not, but I do try to check in with her and just find out how her class is going. She usually shares a lot about how the classes are going, how she's doing. She's kind of private about sharing with about her friends and things. So that's the thing. I just try to keep encouraging her, like, do you want to go to Georgia Tech this weekend? Do you want to spend time with your friends? Just trying to encourage her to go out. One thing I would like to do more often, I've taken a really busy job this year, and I wasn't expecting her to be home. So some people might relate to having to work full time and having your child at home, and having other kids at home as well. And so it's hard to balance all of that. But one thing that I want to do more is just write her little notes, since I'm not always home, and she has to fend for herself a lot. So just writing, she's laughing about that, writing little notes and just leaving them places, and to encourage her, even if she doesn't always want to share with me.
Mike and Christy, we would love to hear from you as well.
Care packages are great. I think when Ryan was a freshman, we received a little letter or card in the mail about the services that you can go through them and pick out a little gift, package or whatever. We've done that. We've sent our own care packages. We also try once a week to do what we call family FaceTime. We have another child that's a freshman in a different college in Georgia, and so the four of us make a habit of on Sundays as our family FaceTime day, and so we try to stay connected that way. Even though we live in Georgia, we're about 4 hours away from Atlanta, so we try every year, usually in the fall, to go up for a football game so that we can see Ryan during that time. Or we try to go up, periodically and stay for a weekend so that we can see each other. If he does come home, which is usually not very, very often, I think he likes staying in Atlanta a lot. When we know he's coming home, we try to say, hey, is there a particular meal you want us to cook, or is there a certain restaurant you want to go to while you're home? So just those little things to make him feel important and want to come home and that type of thing.
Yeah, and actually just a quick follow-up, because I know me and Lacey, oftentimes during the summer, we encounter a lot of moms or dads who are, kind of struggling with being empty nesters. What have y'all done to kind of just help the time go by and just adjust to life without having the kids at home? Any advice to the parents who are empty nesters or soon to be empty nesters?
We try to do some things. We went for a hike the other Saturday. We try to plan and do some things for ourselves on the weekends. But also, you got to remember, Ryan's been gone 3 or 4 years now, and his younger brother, who just is a freshman this year, when you have a 16, 17, 18-year-old at home, they're not always here. They're mobile with their vehicle. They get to go places. So for us, it was a little gradual. It wasn't like a total stop of doing what we were doing before. So, but we do try to make plans and do things for ourselves on the weekends.
Great. That's awesome to hear. The next question that we have is for Rachel and Jennifer. What recommendations for feeling connected to campus, even though you're at home? Because I know, during this semester, we have a lot of students who are remote and going through what you're going through. So how have you stayed connected to Georgia Tech?
Go ahead. Well, because we live fairly close to campus, so it's been a little easier for me to sometimes come down and see a few friends in person. But still, most of what I'm doing to stay connected is still virtual. Again, another benefit of being involved in clubs is that they will organize things, hopefully, online. So last night I had a dance practice online. And there's another organization that I meet with weekly online with about 15, 20 people in classes. Like at the beginning of the semester, we set up like group meets and group chats to be able to stay connected with the other classmates, so that at least it wasn't just like me taking the class alone. I felt like I had people to ask questions to, and also just like generally talk about the class with. One fun thing another friend of mine has been doing, I thought was really creative, is like on Instagram you can ask a question, and once a week they put up like some random question, and hopefully like they get people's responses, and so that at least it like generates a conversation, that they're having those social conversations at least like once a week with people. I think you have to be creative a little more when you're at home, but I think it's still possible to have some connection to campus.
I was going to add, she also plays games online with her friends, and that generates a lot of conversation. I've joined in the games anonymously. But also just Georgia Tech football, since this year, they actually have done pretty good. We've been watching the games and making it a part of like our family. Even though I'm a Florida State fan, we're making Georgia Tech football a point of watching it and cheering for them, and so just trying to make it more of a family thing, that we're focused on Georgia Tech and what's going on there.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing that. And the last question that I have before I turn it over to Lacey for closing remarks is for the parents. I just want to give you a chance to close out really briefly, if you could. Audra, what is the thing that you're most proud of, knowing that Adria's goes to Georgia Tech and will receive a Georgia Tech degree?
I think because I'll know that with that degree, hopefully she can land her a great job, a great career, and I don't have to worry about her. I think because she has so many accomplishments, so it's not like I know where to start, where to end, because she has done so much with her being so young. So I'm just proud overall. She's just great.
Yeah, we're proud of her too. Jennifer, same question to you. What are you most proud of, knowing that Rachel goes to Georgia Tech and will be a Georgia Tech graduate one day?
Well, Georgia Tech just started the Korean major when Rachel started, and so we were so excited for her to be a part of that program and just having that degree. We already knew Georgia Tech was a wonderful school and that the diploma would mean something when she graduated. We're not sure where she's going to go with Korean, but probably overseas. And so we're just excited, like all the opportunities that Tech is provided for her, and know that it's going to lead to somewhere where she's going to be satisfied in what she does. And also just we're really proud because Georgia Tech was one of her like reach schools, and for her to get in, it was just a proud moment for us to even that she got in, and that she'll get a degree from Tech. So we're just excited about her opportunities that she's going to have.
Mike and Christy, what about you all?
Obviously, Georgia Tech has a super reputation in the Southeast and around the country. So I'm super proud when I get to tell people that my son goes to Georgia Tech, and just that reputation goes through the business world too. When Ryan talks about some of the companies at those career fairs, I mean, they're all top-notch A1 companies, and they're all coming to Georgia Tech to try to find these next people to work for them at that company. So it's just like everyone else said, it's just a very good school. Very proud.
Thank you all so much. And I would just like to thank you all for participating tonight. We truly appreciate having you all with us, to the students and to the parents. I think this was a great event, a very interesting event. to kind of pick you all's brains and just have a conversation with you all. So I'm truly, truly thankful. I know Lacey is too. And to the I apologize to the question about changing your major. No, it's not difficult to change your major. We do have an office on campus that focuses on that. So if you'll email us at parents@gatech.edu and to just kind of help you get started with that process. I apologize, had some technical difficulty not seeing that question, but I see that it was answered in the chat box. So I just wanted to address that as well as the study abroad. But now what I'll do is turn it over to Lacey for closing remarks.
Well, I've thoroughly enjoyed listening to all the students and the families, and thank you again for all of you coming on tonight to share your experiences and with our families. And it was neat kind of watching your faces when your parents were answering the question. There were lots of giggles or eye rolls. So it was fun to watch all of the comments. And of course, since you all do work in the office, Tyler and I have enjoyed working with you and seeing you grow. And Ryan actually sent me an email today for a letter of recommendation. So, and I remember when he applied for the job. So it's a fun experience for us to watch all of our student leaders and all the faculty and staff at Georgia Tech very much feel that way, watching our students. I mean, that's why we work at Georgia Tech. We want to see our students succeed. So this was fun tonight. We will be recording this. Tyler's going to wrap up the information about where you can find the recording. We hope to have some fun things planned for our families in the spring. And if the weather holds out for Friday night, we are showing Thor Ragnarok at 7 p.m. in Bobby Dodd on the lawn, on the field. We've got blankets, we've got food trucks. As long as it doesn't rain, that event will be happening. Free parking. Free to get in, just have your student register you, and we hope we see our families on Friday night with our students. Thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight.
Yes, thank y'all so much. What I did was drop a link to the virtual recordings, which this will be posted tomorrow on our website, parents.gatech.edu. If you go under the Stay Connected tab under virtual recordings, you'll be able to access this recording tomorrow, as well as a plethora of other recordings that we had throughout the semester. We just had our Dean of Students on yesterday, giving a chat and just an update on a few things going on campus. So that's very insightful if you want to tune into that. So just once again, thank you, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow.